Hello again everybody, this is EdgeCase, and today we're going to be looking at a match played with a rather unusual squad composition. This squad is built around the flexible dual usage of the heavy machine gunner template. Now, those of you who have ever tried to use a heavy in a squad composition know that one of their worst aspects is their aim stat scaling, which starts very low at the squaddy level and doesn't go up nearly as fast for heavies as it does for the other classes. This build aims to solve this problem by shoring up the heavy's aim stat as well as bolstering its defense with a Tac Officer. The Tac Officer support template has the combat drugs buff, which causes its smoke grenades to give an additional 20 aim, 20 will, and 10 crit to all units in its area of effect in addition to the normal 20 defense bonus. The Tac Officer also has the smoke and mirrors ability, which allows it to use this grenade twice per round instead of the usual one time. The combination of a well-equipped heavy with the offensive and defensive support afforded by the Tac Officer give this team a very broad range of tactical options in almost any situation. So let's catch up to the game in progress. We're about 6 or 7 rounds into the game, and both of us have been making a very cautious advance. Upon finally advancing my sectoid far enough forward to get a peek around the corner, I see multiple hunters. Hunters, like all snipers, have extremely high aim from a standing position, and so leaving my sectoid here would basically be throwing it away. I also have one smoke jumper moving down the opposite side of the map in hopes of catching the enemy from a good flanking position. This doesn't go so well, and my flanking unit finds himself trapped behind the van. During my opponent's turn, I spot the open sign on the door, indicating that he has moved a unit adjacent in position to open the door. I know where he is, but I also know that my flanking unit is now completely cut off and is almost certain to die. Since my smoke jumper can't run far enough to get to any real cover, he's pretty much lost. The only thing I can try to do at this point is try to salvage the situation by hoping that my enemy has moved a few units out of position and that I can take advantage of an opening on the side where most of my units are. Since I suspect he may still be hiding at least one unit behind the van, I grapple my heavy to the roof so that he will be able to provide fire from an elevated position in case I need to shoot down into cover. As expected, the smoke jumper gets flanked.
They're moving to flank me.
An enemy unit does reveal itself from behind the van. And after a sniper shot misses my sectoid behind full cover, my opponent chooses to use an alien grenade to finish the job, potentially hurting any other units that I may have been hiding behind the wall. The trade-off is, I now know that there is another alien unit, probably a sectoid commander, somewhere in the fog of war. I'd like to take a look around the corner to see what threw the grenade, but since a bug prevents me from moving to the spot that I want, I'm forced to use a different unit instead.
Oh wait, that just happened.
Normally, this roof positioning with the machine gunner would be extremely dangerous. However, the Tac Officer's combat drug smoke grenade gives the machine gunner an additional 20 defense as well as 20 aim for overwatch fire and for returning fire in the event that my opponent does choose to take a shot on him.
Clouds away.
He doesn't choose to go after the machine gunner, but his sniper does down my other smoke jumper, leaving me with only the Tac Officer and the machine gunner against his entire team. Since my heavy is in firing position and I know he has a unit hiding behind the van, I can take advantage of the extra large explosion radius afforded by the machine gunner's danger zone perk to damage the unit behind the van as well as reveal it for a follow-up shot.
Over here.
An extra piece of wall burns down at the beginning of my next turn, allowing me to see my opponent's unit poised for an overwatch shot. To avoid having to move through the overwatch, I drop my heavy down into a flanking cover position. Overwatch only triggers if you move between two adjacent visible squares to the unit that would be firing. Unfortunately, the other unit hiding behind the filing cabinet is the sectoid commander. With no way to get into a firing position, my only choice is to use the TAC Officer's remaining smoke grenade for the will buff. Since a unit's resistance against psionic attacks is based on its will stat, the smoke grenade effectively provides 20% cover against psionic attacks as well. My opponent should still have a 55% chance of landing the mind control. Thankfully, as they say, that's XCOM baby, and the coin toss works out in my favor. Unfortunately, the sectoid commander's 20% innate defense leaves me with a really lousy shot. Instead, my best bet is to use the 2 shots afforded by the Heavy's bullet swarm ability and hope that the first one either kills the commander or knocks down his cover, allowing the second one to finish the job. As it turns out, the first shot hits for 8 damage, which is possibly one of the worst outcomes, as that means I need to land a second 42% shot to kill the commander, as opposed to what would have been a nice 100% shot had the first one taken out his cover. Once again, I don't know what to say here, except that's XCOM, baby.
Here, Commander.
Here I'm faced with an interesting decision. I can take this shot and try to bring the game to an early end. I can move out of line of sight and try to outmaneuver him using my 2-to-1 unit advantage, or I can use the TAC Officer's suppression ability to try and keep him in place and possibly force him to make a critical mistake. My opponent wisely decides to take the risk rather than take the bait, and a long 2-on-1 chase ensues. Because his hunter can both move and fire in the same turn, and because it can potentially deal up to 12 damage in a single shot, I can't take this win for granted, even though I have a 2-to-1 unit advantage. And as you can see here, even though I managed to position my TAC Officer for a flanking shot, he ends up 1 damage short of a kill, and gets a laser in the face for it. The rest of the game is a 1-on-1 hunt. I finally get lucky again when his hunter misses a snapshot, and my Heavy, firing from an elevated position, is able to finish the game. Once again, this has been a ranked match using the Heavy Machine Gunner Tac Officer combo. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out my other videos, hit the like button, or leave a comment below. Thank you to my opponent, Firewater Gasoline, for a great game, thanks to Firaxis for making it, and thank you for watching.